Hiya, my name is Aileen
And my name is Nellie.
and we've a lovely song for you today called
Pol and Nancy Hogan.
And this is a song that we've learned from the singing of Paddy Berry. Paddy is a traditional singer and song collector from Wexford. So the first thing that we're going to do is sing the chorus for you. So are you listening? With my do-ra-ya, fall-a-diddle-da, do-ra, fall-a-diddle-dare-o. Now, what was all that about? Do you think that meant anything in any language? Did it now?
No.
Definitely not. That's pure nonsense. So they're just made up sounds or vocables, pure nonsense set to the air of the tune so that you can sing it. And in traditional Irish music, we have this in the form of lilting or jigging, some people call it, or gob music. What's your gob now?
Your mouth.
Your mouth. So gob music is mouth music. So just made up sounds to sing along. So we're going to teach you that little chorus now. So listen first while I sing the line and then you sing it back along with Nellie.
Yeah.
So, with my do-ra-ya, fall-a-diddle-da.
With my do-ra-ya, fall-a-diddle-da.
Do-ra, fall-a-diddle-dare-o.
Do-ra, fall-a-diddle-dare-o.
Great. So now, let's put that together, those two lines. Are you ready? With my do-ra-ya, fall-a-diddle-da, do-ra, fall-a-diddle-dare-o. So we're going to sing the first verse for you so that you can hear it. And we're going to follow it with the chorus so you can join in. In Wexford town there is a place called Ballybogan, and in that place there live two maids called Pol and Nancy Hogan. With my do-ra-ya, fall-a-diddle-da, do-ra, fall-a-diddle-dare-o. So let's go back to that first verse then. Here's how we're going to learn it. I'll sing the line for you and then you listen and sing along back with Nellie again. All right? So, in Wexford town there is a place.
In Wexford town there is a place
Called Ballybogan.
A place called Ballybogan.
And in that place there live two maids.
And in that place there live two maids
Called Pol and Nancy Hogan.
Called Pol and Nancy Hogan.
Let's put all that together and then into the chorus. So, in Wexford town there is a place called Ballybogan, and in that place there live two maids called Pol and Nancy Hogan. With my do-ra-ya, fall-a-diddle-da, do-ra, fall-a-diddle-dare-o. So we'll sing the second verse for you. Now Nancy bought a little pig and she hired Paul to mind it. And just like any other little pig, it carried its tail behind it. With my do-ra-ya, fall-a-diddle-da, do-ra, fall-a-diddle-dare-o. And we'll teach you that now, so it goes. Now Nancy bought a little pig.
Now Nancy bought a little pig,
and she hired Paul to mind it.
And she hired Paul to mind it.
And just like any other little pig,
and just like any other little pig,
it carried its tail behind it.
It carried its tail behind it.
That's it. So sing it together with us now and into the chorus again. So, now Nancy bought a little pig and she hired Paul to mind it. And just like any other little pig, it carried its tail behind it. With my do-ra-ya, fall-a-diddle-da, do-ra, fall-a-diddle-dare-o. Next verse. Old Paul, she bought another one, and isn't it a wonder that in a week you wouldn't know. These two little pigs asunder with my do-ra-ya, fall-a-diddle-da, do-ra-fall-a-diddle-dare-o. So I'll sing a line. It goes, Old Pol, she bought another one.
Old Pol, she bought another one.
And isn't it a wonder?
And isn't it a wonder
That in a week you wouldn't know.
that in a week you wouldn't know.
These two little pigs asunder.
These two little pigs asunder.
So what does that mean to tell them asunder, Nellie?
That means you can't tell them apart.
Yeah, so the two little pigs were the very same going around, one as the other. So we'll sing that now. So we'll sing the verse and into the chorus again. Old Pol, she bought another one, and isn't it a wonder that in a week you wouldn't know. These two little pigs asunder with my do-ra-ya, fall-a-diddle-da, do-ra-fall-a-diddle-dare-o. And the next verse. Two cullions walking down the road, as the two little pigs were feeding, pulled out their knives, cut off their tails, and sent them home a-squealing with my do-ra-ya, fall-a-diddle-da, do-ra-fall-a-diddle-dare-o. So there's a word that comes up here and it's cullions, two cullions. So what does the word cullion mean, Nellie?
Isn't it an Irish word for pup?
Yeah, it is. So it is the Irish word for a pup, but it doesn't, in this case, just mean a young dog. It means a pup, as in if you said to a little fella who's after been bald, well, you're some little pup, the big mess you're after making here, or you're a right little divil, little pup. And these two boys are certainly right little pups. So we'll teach it to you, and I'll sing the line and you sing back with Nellie. Two cullions walking down the road,
Two cullions walking down the road,
as the two little pigs were feeding,
as the two little pigs were feeding,
pulled out their knives, cut off their tails,
pulled out their knives, cut off their tails,
and sent them home a-squealing.
and sent them home a-squealing.
Let's sing that all together, so. Two cullions walking down the road, as the two little pigs were feeding, pulled out their knives, cut off their tails, and sent them home a-squealing with my do-ra-ya, fall-a-diddle-da, do-ra-fall-a-diddle-dare-o. And so this was a very serious offence, so it ended up in court. Now Nancy went to the court of law before the judge and jury, and up steps Pol before the bench for to read her story, saying, if your honour was a pig, which I hope you'll never be, sir, if a blackguard came and cut off your tail, wouldn't you roar and bawl and squeal, sir, with my do-ra-ya, fall-a-diddle-da, do-ra-fall-a-diddle-dare-o. So did you see what happened there? There's two verses that run into each other without singing the chorus. So what I'm going to do then is go back to that verse and sing the line again for you to sing. And it goes, now Nancy went to a court of law.
Now Nancy went to the court of law,
before the judge and jury,
before the judge and jury,
when up steps Pol before the bench,
when up steps Pol before the bench,
for to read her story, saying,
for to read her story, saying.
So we'll put that much together first. So the saying there is a kind of a bridge between the two verses instead of the chorus this time. So now Nancy went to the court of law. Ready? Yeah. Now Nancy went to the court of law before the judge and jury, and up steps Paul before the bench for to read her story, saying. And this is what Paul says. So she's trying to get the judge or the magistrate to see it from the pig's point of view and from Pol and Nancy's point of view. She's standing up for them, and she says, "If your honour was a pig,
if your honour was a pig,
which I hope you'll never be, sir,
which I hope you'll never be, sir,
if a blackguard came and cut off your tail,
if a blackguard came and cut off your tail,
wouldn't you roar and bawl and squeal, sir?"
Wouldn't you roar and bawl and squeal, sir?
And a blackguard, by the way, in case you haven't heard the term, is another name for a right little pup or a little divil up to no good. So let's sing that verse. If your honour was a pig, which I hope you'll never be, sir, if a blackguard came and cut off your tail, wouldn't you roar and bawl and squeal, sir? So we'll skip the chorus there because you know it well enough. Move on to the next verse, and it goes, sing it with me?
Yeah.
The magistrate stood up and said, "Their rumps will soon be mending, and pigs will snore and fatten more without their tails attending." So it goes, the magistrate stood up and said,
the magistrate stood up and said,
"Their rumps will soon be mending,
their rumps will soon be mending,
and pigs will snore and fatten more,
and pigs will snore and fatten more,
without their tails attending."
without their tails attending.
So sing it together. The magistrate stood up and said, "Their rumps will soon be mending, and pigs will snore and fatten more, without their tails attending." We're near the end of the song now. Couple of verses left. Sing this one. It goes, "These two old women, Pol and Nan, they lived a life quite airy. There wasn't a word that ever they spoke, but every word contrary." So listen to me sing the line again, join in with Nellie. It goes, "These two old women, Pol and Nan,
these two old women, Pol and Nan,
they lived a life quite airy.
they lived a life quite airy.
There wasn't a word that ever they spoke,
There wasn't a word that ever they spoke,
but every word contrary."
but every word contrary.
Now sing along with us. Ready? These two old women, Pol and Nan, they lived a life quite airy. There wasn't a word that ever they spoke, but every word contrary. So what do you think that was like if they were contrary all the time, Nellie?
They're always fighting.
Yeah, and probably disagreeing with each other. So they might say on a day like today, one might say, "Isn't that a lovely sunny day out there?" And the other one would say, "There's an awful cold old wind though." That kind of thing. Never agree. So we're into the last verse. "Old Nancy died on a Saturday night, and Pol, she died on a Sunday. They waked them both on a Sunday night and buried them both on Monday." So, I'll sing the line again, you listening? "Old Nancy died on a Saturday night,
Old Nancy died on a Saturday night,
and Pol, she died on a Sunday.
and Pol, she died on a Sunday.
They waked them both on a Sunday night,
They waked them both on a Sunday night,
and buried them both on Monday."
and buried them both on Monday.
So let's sing it together, and this time, because we're at the end, let's sing the chorus after it. "Old Nancy died on a Saturday night, and Pol, she died on Sunday. They waked them both on Sunday night, and buried them both on Monday. With my two-ri-ya, fall-a-diddle-da, two-ri-fall-a-diddle-dare-o. So now we're going to sing the whole song together from start to finish. You ready? So it starts on this note. Are you ready? In Wexford town there is a place called Ballybogan, and in that place there live two maids called Pol and Nancy Hogan, with my two-ri-ya, fall-a-diddle-da, two-ri-fall-a-diddle-dare-o. Now Nancy bought a little pig, and she hired Paul to mind it, and just like any other little pig, it carried its tail behind it, with my two-ri-ya, fall-a-diddle-da, two-ri-fall-a-diddle-dare-o. Now Paul, she bought another one, and isn't it a wonder that in a week you wouldn't know these two little pigs asunder, with my two-ri-ya, fall-a-diddle-da, two-ri-fall-a-diddle-dare-o. Two cullions walking down the road, as the two little pigs were feeding, pulled out their knives, cut off their tails, and sent them home a-squealing, with my two-ri-ya, fall-a-diddle-da, two-ri-fall-a-diddle-dare-o. Now Nancy went to the court of law before the judge and jury, and up steps Paul before the bench for to read her story, saying, if your honour was a pig, which I hope you'll never be, sir, if a blackguard came and cut off your tail, wouldn't you roar and bawl and squeal, sir, with my two-ri-ya, fall-a-diddle-da, two-ri-fall-a-diddle-dare-o. The magistrate stood up and said, their rumps will soon be mending, and pigs will snore and fatten more, without their tails attending, with my two-ri-ya, fall-a-diddle-da, two-ri-fall-a-diddle-dare-o. These two old women, Pol and Nan, they lived a life quite airy. There wasn't a word that ever they spoke, but every word contrary, with my two-ri-ya, fall-a-diddle-da, two-ri-fall-a-diddle-dare-o. Now Nancy died on a Saturday night, and Paul, she died on Sunday. They waked them both on a Sunday night, and buried them both on Monday, with my two-ri-ya, fall-a-diddle-da, two-ri-fall-a-diddle-dare-o, with my two-ri-ya, fall-a-diddle-da, two-ri-fall-a-diddle-dare-o. Well, we hope you enjoyed singing that, and you had a great day for Crinune and Og 2020. So from me, Aileen.
And me, Nellie.
Slán.
Slán.
See you.